Guys, welcome to my channel. This is the weekly astrology and tarot forecast for Sunday, January 16th through Saturday, January 22nd. And this week looks like it's going to pack a punch, bring some stuff up for us that might be uncomfortable to say the least, but no worries, because whatever mess is coming up this week will be leading you to a sense of freedom and liberation if you can just buckle down and write it out. So I'm going to go over the transits for this week, and then at the end I'm going to do a tarot card reading to give you some advice and guidance to get through, so you don't lose your noggin, you don't lose your head, you're not walking around like, what's up with the energy this week? I can't understand what's going on. Is it a full moon? And yes, it is a full moon this week. And so before we get into it, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Valentine Lister, if you're new to my channel, and I'm a professional astrologer and tarot card reader. And I also like to consider myself a YouTuber. And on this channel, I do a weekly forecast just like this one every Sunday. I'm also in the process of teaching how to read tarot cards and tying in the symbolism and the astrology in that, so check that out. So I do videos on tarot and astrology and any other spiritual practices that I think are cool, helpful, that I want to share with you guys. All right, so let's get into this week's transits. Okay, so the first transit we have is on Sunday, January 16th. We have a Pluto Cazimi, so that can also be known as a Pluto conjunct the sun. But basically with a Cazimi, Cazimi means that the planet is in the center of the sun. Now, why does that matter? Well, when the planet is like next to the sun, like getting close to the sun, it gets a condition which is known as combust. So usually the sun is pretty jovial, sunny, helpful, really positive force. But when planets get too close to it, it's really hot. And so it was considered in ancient Hellenistic astrology that the sun burns the planet and messed it up, and took away its own life force or vitality, and probably like the sun absorbed that. And that's because as a planet goes past the sun, it gets into the shadow of the sun and you can't actually see the planet. It's hidden. Now, this is a very common condition with planets like Mercury and Venus, but with Pluto, not super common. So anyway, when that planet gets to the center of the sun, it's kind of like that planet has been through like a steam bath or something, like it's been purged of like all its toxins, and it ends up as the purest version of itself and the purest expression of itself. So we have on that Sunday, we have Pluto in the center of the sun, and the sun is going to hold up Pluto in its purest form. Pluto is going to be like its special guest right here, and the sun is going to be like, look, here's Pluto, he's awesome, check it out. So this is in earthy Capricorn. So I'm thinking that the Pluto Cazimi is like a preview to the full moon that's going to be happening tomorrow, in that we're going to have, like I said, some stuff coming up. So let me break this down for you. So generally the sun was associated with Apollo, and he was this bright, sunny, optimistic, childlike god, who was all about like the truth. Apollo could not lie, could not tell the truth, and all about self-expression. Here I am. If he loved like a nymph or, you know, a mortal or a goddess, like he was like, would not give up his pursuit. And actually I believe it's not the cypress tree. Oh, the laurel tree, because the laurel is associated with Apollo. There was like this nymph or goddess, I can't remember, named Laurel, and he ran after her and she was like, no, and he wouldn't give up. And then she turned herself into a tree, which is all about mythology. But anyway, the important thing is that the sun is illuminating the truth. And in this earthy sign of Capricorn, which is a Saturn ruled sign, like the sun is illuminating our need for like material security, and also our desire to, you know, have what we want, to have people be reliable for us, to be reliable ourselves and to really work hard for what we want and also reap the rewards. Because the sun in a Saturn ruled sign, Saturn ruled agriculture. So it's reaping the rewards of hard work. And that's what the sun is illuminating in Capricorn. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn in the center. Now, what does Pluto represent? Well, he represents Hades, the god of the underworld, the scary god that's in like hell, but it could also be heaven. So Pluto was related to the earth. And so we can kind of even think of Pluto as like this karmic cycle of life and death and rebirth, because in the ancient Greek, like mythology and philosophy, the underworld wasn't just like you stayed there forever. There's actually stories about like Odysseus and the other like famous figures, like maybe like King Agamemnon, I'm thinking, maybe Perseus. And they would reflect on their lives, and then they would decide, well, what do I want in the next life? So Odysseus, who is like part of, the Iliad and the Odyssey, like the famous like hero, he decided like in his next life, he really wanted to be nobody. Being a hero wasn't all it was cracked up to be. He had to fight a war, was away from his wife for 10 years, had all of these like, really disruptive things happen. So he wanted to go back into the next life and, just be a nobody, just lead a very simple life. So that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Pluto, where we're looking at our actions, the results of our actions. And we're really looking at what was hidden, what's been hidden under the earth, and even what's been hidden in our psyche. So Pluto can relate to like these deep psychological issues. And even in the yogic tradition, we can think of them as samskaras. So things in life that happened that we couldn't let go of, that we're holding on to, but we may have buried due to shame or embarrassment about something that's happened, or a belief that we've had. And it could be, so Pluto related to both heaven and hell. It wasn't just hell, the underworld, it was both of these things. You could find both of these things, but it was hidden underground. So we may have shame about wanting something or desiring something, and possibly in a physical sense, right? Because we have these planets in earthy Capricorn, plus we have Venus retrograde. So this very personal desire and need for love and acceptance and pleasure, really wanting pleasure. Like, and you can think of pleasure like a lot of times as like the love of our life, or like even like sexual relationships, like feeling good in the body, or like what we eat, like what we consume in the body to take care of it, or issues of money, right? How we take care of ourselves, our possessions, our homes, our bodies, maybe even our children, our parents. And even desires, especially related to solar figures, because we have the sun here. So solar figures traditionally like relate to like a masculine person. So it could be a partner, it could be a spouse, it could be your boss, your father, grandfather, younger male, or mentor, people we look up to for the truth, because remember, Apollo was the truth. And so we're going to have these things come up, and potentially heartbreak surrounding these things, because the sun relates to the heart and love. It's not just Venus that relates to that, but the sun as well. And then we have Venus co-present with that Pluto, sun, Cazimi. And it's hosted by Saturn in Aquarius. So basically, these things that come up for us would be our pleasure and desires related to like these physical like needs, like money, our home, our possessions, people, body, things that make us secure and make us feel loved. But it could also be surrounding ideas about how we think things should be, and wanting that to come up, wanting to express ourselves and express our ideas. We're not seeing it in like our lives yet, or our societies yet, seeing our ideas implemented. But we know that there is some value in that, and that could improve our lives in some way, but we're ashamed to talk about what we really think that we should be doing. And so those things are going to be coming up for us. Another And another thing to notice, and this is leading into the full moon, which is going to further illuminate whatever has been hidden. And so this can actually even relate to physicality, right? Because, Capricorn, very earthy sign. Um, so issues, it could even be like literally issues of the heart, like physically the heart, having heart related issues or ailments come up, or like blood pressure issues, like things related to your heart. So really the importance of tending to your physical body on around Sunday, super important. And the basic thing that you need to know is that you're probably going to have things come up that bring up a certain amount of pain, things that are hidden, because even like physical things we do tend to carry a lot of shame about, like money, how much we're making, how well we're doing at our job, how nice our house looks, can we take care of ourselves, right? Those types of issues. And if we can't do that, or if we don't have like the people in our lives that we look up to, like those solar figures, those masculine, like manly figures, they're not taking care of us, right? As a woman, like with this Capricorn energy, um, or a man, or however you identify, if you're not being taken care of, it can bring a lot of shame and embarrassment about what have I been doing with my life? Why can't I take care of myself? Never mind that you're a human being. Life's not really as clear cut as we think. Like going to work, making money, it's not as clear cut. Like society is a mess right now, if you haven't noticed, right? And that's what that full moon in Cancer is going to help us out with. But just knowing that around Sunday, Monday, even this week, a lot of really painful issues are going to be surfacing. But don't worry, I'm going to get into that full moon. That pain, if you're able to just relax, breathe, let go of that stuff as much as you can, let it come up and not do anything about it, you're going to find a sense of freedom. Okay, so the full moon on Monday, January 17th, and these transits are the star of the show in the beginning of the week. Hopefully it'll calm down later. But we have the full moon in Cancer happening on Monday, January 17th. And this just reinforces that Sun, Pluto, Cazimi, where it's reinforcing issues coming to life. So traditionally, the full moon helps us to look at these opposites in life, like the polarity, like the yin and yang, right? Masculine and feminine, like separate and together, like kind of energy. Because part of being human is dealing with these polarities, dealing with separateness and not having everything to come together. If you have no body, right, and you're just a soul, from what I've heard for people who have near-death experiences, have experienced that there's this unity and oneness that you experience, like if you don't have a body. But we do have bodies. We have a right and a left hands, right? We also in relationship want to come together, want to like synchronize and come in harmony with other people. And so that's a fact of life, of living life on Earth. But not everything comes to harmony. And so we have to deal with that. And so we push things down and we try to do the best that we can. So we've had these issues come up from yesterday. And then the full moon. So the full moon represents polarity. So it represents picking the fruits of our labors, but not just that. Like the full moon also is about illumination. So the moon becomes fully illuminated. Now, the moon is not always fully illuminated. The moon kind of hides in the darkness and is not always making us super aware of what's going on. But in full moon, we see things come full force. And we're looking at those two separate polarities in life. So the moon is in Cancer, which is nice because that's the moon's natural sign, opposite the sun in Capricorn. So the full moon makes an opposition, and it's like this or that is the opposition, right? Which side do we go to? And trying to find that like happy in between. So Cancer represents emotional security. So Cancer, the mythology, you kind of have to read into it to really figure out how like Cancer relates to the moon, because the moon was also considered a luminary, just like the sun, just like Apollo. It was Selene, and she was this beautiful moon goddess full of light, and she was full of sweetness and love. She was this silvery moon, and she was this nurturing, life-giving, positive force, just like the sun. The sun and the moon were considered, equal luminaries, except the sun was represented the things that we do during the day, and the moon represented this nurturing aspect of things that we do at night. And so the moon is in Cancer, which relates to Cancer the crab. And so quickly, Cancer the crab was a crab that was like trying to fight with and protect the Hydra, which was this monster that had all of these like snake-like heads. And so the symbolism of the snake and the snake-like head is like this life force vitality that's trying to express itself through a body, and represented like the spirit, the soul, the knowledge and wisdom. But it represents all of our different desires and emotions and thoughts that come up. And the thing about the Hydra and about our emotions is that once we like kind of calm down or deal with one emotion or even express it, another emotion comes up and then another thought comes up, and it all like brings us into this darkness of being human, where we completely forget that we're a soul. And then we have Hercules, which was like this solar figure. He was wearing like a lion's pelt representing the soul, and he's trying to navigate and fight with this Hydra, right? So it's like the soul, like our soul in our body, trying to navigate and fight with all of these emotions and trying to like keep our sanity and keep our cool, while dealing with this like snake-like monster, which is always like pulling us into life. And we can also think of like the snake as relating to Adam and Eve, right? So the snake represent wisdom, like wisdom of the body, and really wanting this human experience where we're really in the dark. We're really not connected to who we really are or our souls. Okay, so then the Hydra was actually a baby that Hera like nursed from infancy, and the Hydra was like nurtured to get revenge against Hercules, right? Because like, you know, Jupiter, Hera's wife, had an affair, had Hercules, and Hercules was like this great like son, and she was jealous. But she wasn't able to fight directly, right? So she created this monster. And so as Hercules was fighting the monster, the crab came down. She threw down Cancer the crab, who kind of tried to help with these emotions, and the crab was like killed right away. So we have to think a little bit more into it, for myself, in that the crab is there to help protect and nurture these emotions. Like in that story, it was against the soul, but in reality, like we're not against the soul, right? But it does feel sometimes like we're at odds with, like, we have the soul, we have the sun here, right, in Capricorn, and then we have the moon, which is like our body, our environment, our emotions. And we're trying to find this balance of really securing, really patting down, like Hera raising this like monster baby with all these emotions. And even if you raise a baby, right, or children, like they're crying all the time, or if you raise a pet, like they need you all the time. And you're always like, okay, how am I going to calm this, like these emotions down and help this baby feel, right, my child feel secure, or my pet feel secure, and try to navigate all of the physical needs that they have. And that's where that polarity comes through, that we have physical needs and desires that need nurturing. If those physical needs and desires aren't taken care of, that emotional like, which is related to Capricorn, that emotional security represented by Cancer is not going to be there. And if we don't have emotional security, it doesn't matter how much physical security we have. We're going to feel like one hot mess, and we're going to want to devour more and more. So basically, this full moon is going to bring our like further bring our issues coming to light, because the moon, again, is these issues coming to light. But in a way that nurtures us, in a way that nurtures those emotions, because the moon is in that natural sign of Cancer and can navigate all of those snake-like heads with much more ease, all of those emotions with much more ease. So we're going to be faced with some difficult realities. We're probably going to want to cry, even if it's something that we desire and something that's good that came up. It might be these like cathartic tears of like, oh my God, this is amazing. I didn't even know I wanted this, but it's here. And really like kind of crying about, what have I given up when it relates to my desires? So really difficult emotions may come up. I think we're going to have a very wet full moon, a lot of crying around this full moon. Because looking back to the new moon in Cancer, like when it, like 6 months ago, it was super emotional. There was literal flooding, like with our dishwasher, like my mom's like with our basement, with my mom's washer and stuff. And then even with the new moon, there may be like there was this aspect of we're leading to emotional security. Um, so basically, um, we're going to have things come up that need to come to light about our physical security, about money, resources, the body, solar figures in our life, people, possessions, people we lean on for physical security, our relationships. Really difficult things may come up, like our hell may come up, or heaven may come up, where we have these realizations. But whatever it is, it's going to be deep stuff that's buried. It's going to be hugely emotional, very difficult again. But we had a preview there for Monday. Relax, just relax your body, let yourself know you can handle it, and just let it go. And I'm telling you, I do that practice when difficult stuff comes up. I can't always do it, but when I do it, like, and it's kind of like, don't do anything, right? Just let those emotions come up. Don't try to do anything about them. When they're gone, you're going to feel this sense of relief and ease until the next thing comes up. But because we have a supportive trine from Uranus in Taurus, whatever is coming up is going to lead to liberation. Whatever is coming up is going to help lead us to our desires, our physical desires, and better relationships, and like giving us physical pleasure, security, and love. So we can kind of think of this full moon as like a child crying, right? Us crying and then being comforted and consoled in some way, that there will be some emotional comfort about these physical things, and some physical comfort, for these emotional things. More so, I'm thinking emotional support, but we may have things resolved like in a physical, tangible way as well. Okay, and then on Wednesday, January 19th, we have the sun ingress Aquarius. So, like, the first thing I'm thinking is it's time to get serious. And we may have other matters put under the rug. Okay, so Saturn, so the sun is going into Aquarius, and Aquarius traditionally, traditional astrologer, is ruled by Saturn in Aquarius. So it's a well-supported sun, very Saturn-like sun. So traditionally, the sun was found to be in detriment in Aquarius. Why? Because, well, I talked about Apollo, and he's like, here I am, I'm the truth, like the sunny illumination of the light, kind of like if you know any Leos or Leo energy in your life, it's like, here I am, I'm amazing, and you're amazing too, and let's all express ourselves and be amazing. But the sun in Aquarius, Saturn is different. Saturn was about restricting life and like limiting the life force, and it's the response to actual restrictions that we have in our life, because we can look to in the northern hemisphere where the system was originally done. It's winter, so like they were like, the sun is not doing as well in winter. Why? Because it's cold. It's in the past, in olden days, it was very difficult to survive in the winter. So the winter related to death, because a lot of people wouldn't necessarily make it through. So you had to really hunker down, prepare for the future, really be smart, like about your survival. And you couldn't go out and do the things that you wanted to do. If you want to go outside or you want to eat, you really have to prepare and think through ahead of time like what you needed to do. So it's a lot more of a serious energy. Also, you wanted to make sure that your group survived. You didn't want to just get through the winter alone, right? And not have a family, not have a community or friends. You would think towards like, how are we all going to survive through the winter? And that's kind of one way you can think about Aquarius. And the other way you can think about it is just like in the winter, right? In the winter, we're tending to think about all the things that we're going to be doing when it's nice out. So kind of thinking about that Aquarian, like future thinking towards the future of like I like, these are the things I want to be doing, like that are life-giving, but I can't do them yet because it's too cold out and I'm just trying to survive. So I don't see like the tools and the resources to do what I want to do yet, but I will be able to do that in the future. Also, with the sun in Aquarius, right? There's this tendency to like take the self out of whatever scenario is happening and be objective. So letting ideas flow to find the truth, protecting ideas and letting them be free. Like, this is what I think, this is where I stand. I respect where you stand as well, and being super objective, right? Thinking strategically through the winter. So that we could come up with a good solution, because it's not about how you feel. We have to survive, okay? And so this idea of, this is the way I think it should be. Let me hear you out. Let me see what the group needs, and let me implement that. And we can also think of, Aquarius being related to the water bearer. So that would be Ganymede up in the heavens, being a water bearer in a life, like kind of hanging out with the gods and goddesses. So Aquarius is a very sign that is related to like being up in your head more so, because like air signs and fire signs tend to be related to like spirit and like and the mind, things that aren't really tangible, that you can't necessarily touch, like the soul and ideas. So up in the clouds, up in your head, right? When our mind wanders, my mind wanders a lot, like we're up in the clouds, up in our heads, versus like water and earth, which are these like actual life-giving physical things. And so like earth and water were these more like grounded, like physical elements, right? So we can think of the sun, like didn't mention before, also as our life path, like what our soul drives us to do moving forward, besides being those solar, like masculine figures, like your spouse or your father or your boss, like mentor, grandfather, whatever. Um, besides those things, it can be your life path. Um, so really, like this aspect of when the sun is in Aquarius, which it will be for the next couple of weeks until February 18th, we might be more up in our heads, like thinking about how we want the world to be, what we want to do, and maybe taking ourselves out of it, which I think will be helpful with all of that earlier in the week energy where we had some painful stuff come up for us. Maybe having this aspect of like chilling out, like calming down, like a little bit, and like taking the personal out of it, like not taking what's happening so personally, but being like, this is just another thing that's happening in life, and I have to stay objective and clear-headed. Personally, as a person who is like super emotional, I actually really like Aquarius season. I like aspects that are less emotional and like bring out my more objective side, because I tend to be so over emotional and get so lost in my emotions that it's really nice to like be taken like out like too deep into emotions, if you know what I mean. Holla if you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's the feel. So let's get into the tarot card reading for this week and just see like what advice, what's the overall energy, and how we can navigate through this week. Okay, let's see what we have here. So just want to let you know at the end, I do put an image of the cards in this video for you to view so that you can reflect on the cards at the end. Just FYI. Oh, sorry. I try not to shuffle these cards in here because I know it's like super loud, but sometimes I forget. Okay, so let's see what we have pop in here. These cards just want to fall out. So this week is definitely related to people and relationships with others, and yeah, difficulty with those solar figures. So let me show you what I have. So the overall energy of the week is going to be related to a person, this King of Cups, this masculine figure who maybe we're not in contact with or in isolation with, or who may be a father or some father figure that we're disconnected with. Yeah, let me see what I'm getting. So what I'm getting is, okay, so it could be a father figure, but it could be like someone we have like a romantic feeling for, like someone we have a desire for, that maybe the ship has sailed with this person. And that we've become disconnected with them, and we're grieving that loss. And maybe there's this feeling of wanting to hold on to that relationship and not want to let go, but this person is disconnected from us. they're kind of dipping their toe in, kind of dipping it out, but and not really committing fully to like meeting our needs or desires in our relationship with them, and perhaps not connecting. We're not connecting with them emotionally and not feeling like emotionally fulfilled. But they're not there just necessarily supporting us, but what the message is coming through is that it really doesn't matter, that this person again is like the imagery of this week is just like there's this water coming up, like these emotions coming up, and this person is meant to bring those emotions up, and we want to embrace them so that we can heal from them. So there's the phrase like better out than in, right? If you're sick and you have something keeping your body down, that um, that it's better to purge those toxins and get them out, rather than stuff them down. And just thinking about also that Pluto energy, maybe we're going to actually physically like purge things too, maybe not feeling well. That's an image that came up. I'm like, sometimes it comes up. I'm like, oh my God, do I really need to say that? But that is a message that is coming up. Okay. So the advice for the week, let's get into this advice. It's very physical energy here. So we have the Ace of Pentacles reversed as the advice for this week. Yeah, so don't get lost in illusions of what things could be and ideas that you have of how life could be. Don't get lost in that. There's this need to really have this like grounded physical wisdom, and kind of don't make things so hard. Like keep it simple. Do what's in front of you to do. It's like this energy of like being practical, being grounded, sticking to your routine, like the routine that you have, like from day to day, like focusing on the work that you need to do, focusing on like the things that you need to do around your home, or like obligations that you have with other people, maybe taking care of like, you know, yourself, your physical body, um, you know, like your own money and resources, your own desires, but could be, taking care of your kids or pets, like whatever it is. Like there's there's this collective reading. There's so many different things that you could be doing. But keeping super grounded, keeping things super simple. Don't try to complicate things or put yourself, it's like we can complicate our lives by thinking this is what things could be. This is the way it could be. Maybe I could make it happen now. Don't try to make it happen. Don't try to make anything happen. Just focus on what's in front of you. Focus on staying really grounded and present in your environment. Because whatever ideas you have about how you want your relationship with this person, it's like not fruitful. It's not like meant to come up, I guess. And also there's probably going to be another person in your future who will be emotionally fulfilling, and be able to meet your needs. And yeah, I am getting the energy that this is different, like separate person, and maybe there is this like tying in of like a lot of times this is no secret, if you know anything about, I don't know, psychological issues, that issues with our father or fatherly figures can really tie into our relationships and the way we interact. So this father figure, mentor, masculine figure that you're disconnected with in your relationship, maybe tying in with your romantic relationships with other people. And so you're really trying to heal like these daddy issues. And you think it's around like your lover or like that person. And so that is also why it's like letting these issues come up and not doing anything about them, because you're just going to repeat the cycle of whatever you want to get out of. If you don't stay grounded and just let it go and be like, that was the past, let me get excited about the future, and I have no idea what's going to happen, and just be open to what's happening. But in the future, whatever is happening this week, whatever is getting purged, is going to really tie into this love relationship, with this romantic partner that you have. Um, because like the conclusion of the week is like this, we have the Knight of Cups, which this is like the master of romance. This is like the Don Juan energy. Yeah, so really finding that emotional connection, and it may not be long term. Like this might be like I'm getting like this, it's possible to have like this one night stand energy, but one that where you go into it and embrace it and just say like and kind of let yourself go, and you have wisdom in like indulging your emotions, indulging um yeah, indulging that physical body, perhaps filling up your cup and celebrating life, really having a celebration of life with this romantic masculine energy. So the end of the week, I think, is going to lead to some romance, emotional fulfillment, be the end of a dry spell, and now that can vary person to person. So I mean it might be even just these feelings of love, from other types of relationships or other figures, or it could be even like watching a romantic movie, or just watching people fall in love and really being emotionally fulfilled by that. But I think like overall, this week, because of those issues being purged, we are going to feel super connected to another person, and um, really find like romance or find love or some type of emotional connectedness in our relationships when it relates to a masculine figure, and perhaps even a relationship to ourselves, but something that meets our needs or desires, whatever they may be. It's going to vary from person to person. All right, so let's see mind, body, and spirit, where we're going to be so we can nurture those things. So in our minds, we have the sun reversed. So really, it is making me think of daddy issues, like fatherly figures, mentors, leaders, could be leaders or politicians. So if it's not a romantic relationship, maybe we're seeing romance in the media somewhere. So, um, really like having our minds that we can express our truth and be who we are because of how we were raised, and because of the people who guide us, and because of, like the relationships we have with like these solar figures, fatherly figures. And so our mind is about like reestablishing that inner child, trying to find that innocence again, trying to find that playful, free child that is the truth of who we are, trying to find our freedom and our joy, and really feel alive and vibrant again and good again. And that's where our minds are going to be. And really finding our crown again, like finding a way, I don't know, to like finding our crown again. Yeah. And we have this Queen of Pentacles. So finding like our like royalty. I'm like struggling to find the word. Just finding like really treating ourselves like a queen or a king again, and really valuing ourselves, really connecting to ourself again, because it's not about what the relationship was with this fatherly figure. The point is, we need to heal now so we can move forward with joy and optimism and freedom. Okay, so our bodies. So we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Okay. Yeah, so our body is interesting. Okay, because this relates to our bodies, but it's a person. It's there's so many people. So, yeah, maybe getting, I don't know, like we're feeling physically sick in some way. Oh, feeling like maybe like our desires are repressed, maybe not being able to express those, and like really have our desires met. Um and really be provided for what we need. And maybe even thinking of like maybe there's motherly figures coming up. We have Pluto, right? All of these hidden issues. So there's like a feminine, earthly, grounded figure who we want to like meet our physical needs in some way, to protect us in some way. Really feeling like maybe we had a motherly figure that didn't protect us in some way and in our bodies, and that affects our bodies and our relationship to our bodies. Maybe, oh, maybe looking at even criticism of like having a mother or motherly figure, even that we looked up to. Um, and this could definitely relate to like what we see in media as well, but that, kind of reinforced criticism towards our bodies and the way that we look at like our physical beauty, or how we relate to our physical, yeah, like our physical bodies, and really looking at that and like illuminating that and trying to find like a better relationship with our body. Like we're trying to fix this and trying to change that and heal from that, and feel more grounded in our bodies, like more connected to our physical selves, and really embrace our body and feel more beautiful and like break away from that criticism that really weighed us down. And then in our spirit, we have the Page of Cups. So basically, between this Knight of Cups and this Page of Cups, like it could be a young, masculine or feminine energy that really helps us like feel better about ourselves, really feel emotionally nurtured. So this week I'm getting overall, we're going to be reflecting on our relationships with other people, like even like it could be like childhood issues, right? Coming up from a long time ago, things that we've buried, having them come up and reflect on them, like our damaged relationships with other people, people who we should have looked up to. So like our parents, brothers or sisters, siblings, teachers, the people that we grow up with, our communities, not having those broken relationships, having that pain come up from those relationships, like that Pluto, whatever it's bringing up. It's like relationships, right? We have Venus retrograde, so that makes sense, that it's all this relational stuff. But have no fear, because like by the end of the week, we are going to have these nurturing figures that come and soothe us and help us and to feel like emotionally good again. There's going to be people coming along to help us out. Maybe we know them, maybe they're good friends, but don't underestimate spirit. We have this Page of Cups in the spirit. So don't underestimate, like the universe is going to send somebody along to soothe your emotions. So you could be shopping in a grocery store. You could be walking outside in a park at work. Somebody comes by and says something that you need to hear that makes you feel so much better and so healed. So look for that angel coming along this week. So this week, you're going to have difficulties, your issues with relationships, and the painful ones, like the real painful ones, are going to come up. But remember, these are just like relationships. This is what we've learned in our head about relationships. And there's always this sun that can be restored upright, where we can cleanse all of that out and like find that happiness, that childlike optimism, that will never really leave us. Like there's a child in there who is untouched, who's unaffected. And if child is too hard to think about, you can think about just, you have this, even as an adult, you have this life force vitality that's alive and vital and is untouched, and that in a sense of freedom. And so we can change the way we think about relationships. We can change the way we do things, and we don't have to let these things hold us back, but we do have to let it come up and be able to sit with that pain. Because if we don't sit with the pain, we tend to just push these things back down. And then it's kind of like you never get that toxin purged from your body. Like if you're sick and you need to get something out, you never get it purged from your body. So think of it as pain, that it's a toxin getting purged from your body. Just sit with it, meditate, ground yourself, get in the bath, go out in nature, have a plant near you, listen to music that you love to listen to, and those things will help ground you and help get you through this week. All right, guys, so I'm going to turn the camera over to the cards. Okay, guys, here are the cards for the week. So if you'd like to reflect on them a little more, you can just pause the video and take a look at them. I love you guys so much. And this is just a reminder that if you did like this video, to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for when I release my next video. Also, if you found value in this video, you think it helped, please make sure to share it out with someone else that you think it would help as well. And I will see you guys soon. Love you so much. Take care. Bye. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.